Hello, those of you who might be out there, or maybe there's no one up this late. I find that international people are sometimes out there, but I'm busy, busy, busy making flowers for an order. I have a customer who ordered this is the third tattered wreath. She ordered the two I had in my shop, and then I made some changes on them, and now I am working on flower making. So I thought I'd just turn it on for a little while. Hello, this is Liz with Crafty Devotion, and I am doing flower making today. Welcome, whoever. I see two people that have found me. I may not be able to read your comments right now, but you can comment and I will glance at it every once in a while as I'm crafting. So if you have any questions, you can ask them, but if I don't see them, it seems to come and disappear all the time, the questions. So if you have questions or anything like that about what I'm doing, then repeat, like copy it again so that I might be able to see it. Because I'm all by myself, I'm here crafting, and what I decided to do today is, because I haven't been on YouTube and I've been neglecting everything, and I actually haven't been crafting very much, I decided, well, why don't I sometimes just turn it on and let you guys just watch what I'm doing, because I do not have time for editing my items, but I just have been crafting because I got an order. Someone, one of my customers has ordered three of my tattered rag wreaths. I've already shown you the two that she ordered, and now this is the third one, and this one she wanted it to be very dark colors. So I'm going to use dark colors in this. I'm going to show you what I've done so far. This is what it looks like so far, what I've decided that I'm going to do with it. And she said she wanted burgundies, blues, and then she wanted maybe some rose and green in there. So I chose a variety of fabrics here, and then I showed her two doilies because she said she wanted green, but then I found this burgundy one, and I thought the burgundy went very well. This is not done at all. It is just still can be trimmed if I want to trim it or leave it long. It all depends on what I end up doing. On this side, I added some rose, but right now this is what it looks like. I still haven't added the bottom. You know how always add a tassel down here? I don't even have that. Let's see. So it's just, there you go. Can you see? It just has tons, and she wants dark colors. So now I'm going to, after I create my base, then I go and I start making flowers. And let me show you some of the flowers I've made so far. I'm thinking that burgundy may be my center flower, and this is actually a piece of silk, and I've put the silk as one of the pieces I put in fabrics I put in this, and so the silk is made into one of my puff flowers. I have tutorials on how to make this flower. It is actually one of my very first videos that I made, and I also taught it in um, the budget series where I show you how to make flowers on a budget. I did show you, I think I showed you how to make the puff flower, but this is actually using silk. So you can see the beautiful shabbiness, and this is true silk. Now I know I have a silk flower video out there that I use the a la Liz technique for, but I learned later, because I am actually, even though I'm teaching, I show you what I'm doing, I'm actually fairly new crafter. I made my first videos in 2016, so I haven't been crafting very long. But I did come up with my own technique, and I like to tweak things on my own. So this is the puff flower, my version, and I'm thinking of putting a center something like this in there. And I'm thinking, hello everyone. I don't know what happened, but something happened. And now you were looking at my ceiling right there. I don't know what happened. Is everybody there? You guys say hi. Sorry it went out. I'm going to walk over and open my door so that maybe I'm having some trouble with the Wi-Fi, but I'll be right back. Okay. So can someone comment? You guys there? Yeah, it says it's 6 minutes, 10 seconds. I do not know what happened, but it somehow went out for some reason. So what I was saying is I think this may be my center part of the flower of the wreath, and then I may start designing along there. And let me show you this one. This is made from a fabric also that I used here. See this fabric here? I made a flower with it. I made a rose. And I do not think I have a video out for this. I think I have one on my Facebook page for this. If you remind me, I'll go look and see if I can find it and reshare it so that you can see that one. This is one of those flat roses. And sometimes some fabrics are better used a different type of a rose. So it's the same as this one. I'm it just looks this one looks different because it's a little thicker, and this is the silk also. So I might make a few more silk to add to the project. And this is the fabric I'm showing you. This is actually a very thick decorators, or what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. If somebody knows, you guys can tell me. And I used this. So I might make one of these for you because I did cut a strip. Let's see, what's the other one? So I used that same fabric, and I have tutorials where I showed you how to do folded flowers. And so this thick fabric here, I used it to make a flower. And I'm just throwing centers in there just to see how they look. And sometimes this is just the beginnings of my flower making. So this is one I've made. And so you can see how when I put the flowers on, it will start bringing more elegance to the look. But let me see, where's the other one? Here's another one of those small roses. And I have velvet here as something I had made before, so I might make some velvet because I think those would look pretty. What I do when I'm designing these is I make lots of flowers, and I don't use them all. I use some of them. So this one I made with the soft fabric with a la Liz technique. She wanted blue. I'm not sure how I'm gonna blend in the blue, but I may make smaller ones maybe to add the color in. This is one I made along, and when I did the series on the folded flowers, I actually have a series where I showed you how to make this exact flower, and it's kind of like a rosy pink, and she wants a little bit of pink in there. So that's why I found this flower and I put it in the batch because it will help me to see what the pink looks like. And I did bring out other fabrics. So I think if anybody wants to comment, you can tell me what flower you'd like to see me make first, because I do need to make a few more flowers. I think the silk that I used, this big pretty silk here, maybe we'll do that one first because it's very easy. I'm not going to really teach you how to make it, but I'm going to show you what I do. And what I've done is I've cut this one is, I think this is about 4 inch, but I wanted to make a smaller one because I don't want these flowers to be as big as this one right here. This one I used about a 4 inch. I started with about a 4 inch fabric, and I just kept on going until it reached about how large I wanted it to be. And this one, I think it's about 3.5. Let me see. One, two, yeah, it's about 3.5 inches wide and long. Okay, a flat rose. Okay. All right, thank you. I'm just gonna be here as long as I can. I might cut out if my Wi-Fi goes off again, I may just cut it shorter. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just trying to bring you in because I feel like I've been neglecting my YouTube community. And so for this I'm gonna go ahead and start this. Okay, everybody wants the flat rose. I'll start with that one then. We'll start with that one. Okay, so I'm going to use this one right here, and you can see me make that flat rose, but I think I have a detailed tutorial on uh, on my Facebook page, so I'll go back and look. And this one, you know, when you start a rose, you usually go this way. This one I go this way. I go the opposite way, and I do it very similar, but you can just watch how I do it. It's kind of hard to get it started, and let me see if I remember. See, I every time I do it, because I don't make them very often, I kind of mess with it till I get it. Let's see if I can get it. So let me try again. Oh, thank you. Okay. Yes, I try. I try. But I think I started this way. See, every time I do this one, because I don't do it often, I always, no, it's the other way. See, even I need to remind myself how to make these flowers. So don't get like, oh, I have to make them exactly the same every time. Mine never come out exactly the same. But so usually when I start the center, where's my glue? There it is. I usually do glue a lot. Oh, I put too much. I actually have my camera right in front of me, and I actually think, yeah, this is how it goes. Okay, so this is how I showed you how to do it. I fold it this way, and then I kind of wrap it around. It's different. So you can see me make it, but I can't really, usually if I'm teaching you like a tutorial, then I show you, I basically go and I kind of figure out how to explain it to you at that moment, and then I teach you how to do it. Right now I'm not really in that mode of teaching you, but I thought you would enjoy kind of just watching me. And since I'm crafting right now, because I have been getting several orders, she also ordered, please do not always have. It is an upholstery fabric. It is. That's what I'm telling you. This is an upholstery fabric. I make flowers out of everything. That's why I call them rag flowers, because I tear my fabric or I cut it really rugged and then I turn it into a flower. And this is an upholstery type fabric. It's very thick, and I used it even in my wreath. And I liked it because sometimes the upholstery fabrics are kind of nice because they're almost two-sided. Like, see, this one has color on both sides. It's not completely two-sided, but it doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look like a lot of times you get a fabric and it's all white on the other side. So this is how it turned out. It's turning out. There you go. There's one more. So I know I have tons of videos out there for you guys, teaching you how to make these. And usually what I'll do with this one, because it's so beat up, look at the back. It's so beat up. I will take another piece of the fabric. I've shown you this on my other flowers. I'll take another piece of the fabric and I'll glue it down here on the bottom, and that will keep it together. And you can see how pretty that looks. These flowers are these roses are really pretty, and I think she's gonna like it. It'll add a touch. And I'll do different flowers for different types for each kind. So like this one, I made the big puff flower, and then I also made a rose right here so that I can actually put it in different places. Now the reason I'm gonna make something out of this fabric is because it is one of the fabrics I chose. But I know that I don't want it as big as this one. Okay, and I might make another rose, but I want to show you this one also because I know I also need to do, so what I do is I'll take, this is about 3.5 inches wide, and you could make it as long as you want or as long as your fabric is. And sometimes I'll use the what's it called, the fabric tack, and other times I'll just use my glue gun. But if I'm making a wreath like this, I may use some hot glue, but when I'm attaching it to my wreath, I either use fabric tack or I sew it on. Or sometimes I do. What's the largest flower I make? I have a customer who loves giant flowers and she likes to put them on her hats, and I'll make her, I've made her up to 10-inch flowers, or some of them even bigger. And most of the times when I make them that size, it depends on what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. I usually use like a a chiffon, not a chiffon. Yes, I have used chiffon for her, but also organza. Organza is the easiest one to make a really large flower with. Um, so yeah, I have a lot, tons of photos of my flowers on my in my Facebook page. I think I have might have like an album with a bunch of flowers in it that I've made before, but it would be something that but you can do that with almost any technique. You can make them larger. So this one I can make, it can get larger if I want it to. I can just add, I sometimes like I'll make it a little bit wider and then I'll just add it to the back of that. Oh, I was going to tell you about the silk. As I'm working with silk, I do want to tell you about silk. Silk, um, real silk, it does not melt. Okay, I learned when I first got silk, I had bought a like a piece of a garment and I had used silk to make a flower, and I actually have a video on it. It's actually one of my highest ranking tutorials on YouTube here. And after that I learned that silk, that it was not genuine like real silk. And then this fabric I have here, it's funny. And then I researched it more and I learned how to burn your fabric so you can find out what kind of what it's really made out of. And silk, what will happen if you melt silk, it burns and it stops burning as soon as you let go, but it turns into ash right away. It turns into a really soft ash that just an ash that just melts in your hand. If you squish the ash, it's really soft and it just melts in your hand. Now, if it's a synthetic silk and you melt the fabric, like you burn it till it burns, and you touch the ashes will be hard, like hard. That tells you that it's not real silk. It's got so this actually right here that I have is also silk, and I learned a lot about silk because I didn't know I had silk. And then there is this, oh gosh, I can't remember her name. Why can't I remember her name? But one of my followers, and she has her own Facebook group. She was an older lady. She says, will you sell me some of your silk? I didn't even know I had silk. I was using silk. So I'm learning. I don't know everything, but when I make flowers, I test the fabric I'm using. So I know now that silk will not melt very well. So unless it's a synthetic silk. So you can buy a dress or something in the secondhand store and it might say silk, but it may not be 100% silk. It may be a blend, or maybe be a fake silk where it's made to just feel like silk, so soft the way silks. But this silk right here is more of a these silks are a little bit more uh, silks that are used differently. They're not like that real soft silk. So I learned that they make all kinds of silk. That some of them are for upholstery type stuff. Some of them are made really soft and beautiful, the kind that they make scarves out of, or taffeta. Like I have some taffeta silk that it feels doesn't even feel like it's silk, but I just kept on learning. So what I did was I took this that 3.5 inch slip, I folded it in half, I glued it. You saw me do that, and now I cut it in strips. And these strips are about, I don't know, 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch. You can make them some thinner, but I know this silk comes apart and it frays like this. So I'm leaving it kind of wide. So depending on what you do. So what I do at this point, and I've shown you this in my tutorials, is I go like this and I fray it so that it gets shabby. Can you see the frays coming out now? And this is a totally different color. It's a greenish, and it has like tints of blue, and I may use it, I may not, but I know that I'm going to make them small. I'm not going to make them big. So it could be one that if I put this together, I might tuck it in here just so the little bit of the color peeks out. And that will be something you'll see in the future as I design my wreath. But I want to have different things available to me when I'm doing this. And then a lot of times, like some of the flowers that you saw here, like this one, it's one I made a long time ago. So is this one. And even this one over here is a velvet one made in the same way that that other one is. So I do this to it. And usually I do it over my trash can because all the pieces start falling. In fact, I might do that. But if anybody wants to ask a question, you can ask a question. I'm trying to look to see if you have. What I'm doing is I have the strip over my trash can, and I'm kind of brushing it the way I was in front of you. That's what I'm doing, just so the frays come down, because I don't like the frays falling everywhere. And this is one of the easiest ways I found. Hello. Okay, so now all you do with this flower to make this puff flower is do what I've done, and then you start rolling. And I've shown you, like, one of my the very first video I showed how to do this, and I used a string to wrap it because I was trying to make them for children. But all you do is just keep on rolling it. Now I know a lot of people do them where they actually glue it on another piece. I don't do that, but one of the things you do want to do so that it's not too thick, you do want to go pretty close to the edge. But you don't want it to fall apart. If it does tear or anything like that. So I'm trying to do this so you could actually see what I'm doing. And all I'm doing is just putting a little glue here. And now when I attach this, hi Marlette, it's your first time watching? Oh, well, welcome. Welcome. I've been gone for quite a while because I'm just so busy. My life is, I kind of started doing YouTube and channels when I was actually sick, so sick that I needed to get myself busy, my brain, and I couldn't get up and do a lot. Oh, thank you. You love my videos. Thank you. Hey, but you're from Idaho. Wait a minute. I'm from Idaho too. Where do you live? I moved to Idaho this past year in 2018. I moved to this house in about August. And now I think it's interesting how Lewiston, Idaho. How far are you from Nampa? I'm in Nampa. I've been trying to find fellow crafters in my area. Okay, so now can you see how it's turning into this? Now this fabric sticks up a little more because it's a little bit sturdier than this. This is a softer fabric. So depending on what fabric you use. Now I don't want, because like I said, I don't want to melt it, but remember I told you I want them small. So this one, I might use it. I'm not sure. But can you see how the colors kind of, you can see some of the colors in this fabric? Or here's the rose. You can see little bits of that same color, and it's in my wreath already. And I usually do that. I'll use, so I might do this. Your Nez Perce Reservation Native American. Well, I am Hispanic also. And actually, my Pullman, Washington, huh? Well, someday maybe when my son's goes to school, maybe I'll do some type of a meetup someplace. But can you see how I might add something like that to the side, and then another rose if I want. It depends on how I'm arranging my flowers, and I never know until I'm done, but I do make a lot of them. And then I actually have a bag of the flowers so I'm going to cut this off because I don't want it big. Because I don't want this flower I know for sure it's not going to be like the center attention flower, but it will bring in that color into my project. So I'm not going to finish this one because I know you guys want to see me make other flowers. Okay, So I make it out of all kinds of fabrics. So those are some of the fabrics I chose. She wants a little bit of pink in there. An hour, okay. Let's see. You see, so this is pink and it's a fabric. Oh, you go back and you watch my older videos. Thank you. Thank you. It always helps me. One of the the best ways for you to help me if, maybe you don't go to my shop, you can't go to my shop and buy some of my supplies because actually it's been dwindling on it. You need to go and add more stuff in there. I just recently started doing some putting antiques, vintage stuff in my shop. Maybe you can't go and do that, but if you just comment like you are here and you're active, and when you watch my videos, if you just comment on them or you share them, that really helps the most. So I don't know what kind of pink. I sell everything, Marlette. I have an Etsy shop, and so this is actually a custom order for a customer. She's already ordered like 3 of them, and I don't have any of my wreaths in my shop right now because she ordered them all. And now I'm making her another one per her request with lots of colors. And she wants pink, and it's rosy pink, and that's why I have these fabrics here. I have no idea. This is a very interesting fabric. I don't know what kind of flower it'll make. I test my fabrics. This is actually a beautiful, I just cut a strip and it's actually stretchy, but I can still use any fabric. Yes, I sell all of my crafts in on my videos. If you look, hi Rebecca, you saw a marathon of my videos. Okay, and my flower making. Thank you. So this one, as I'm talking, I'll show you how I would turn it into a rose. See, you just start rolling, and so to order from me, you just need to go to my Etsy shop. I have an Etsy shop. If you want something custom, you can just message me on Etsy, and any of my most of my handmade listings should have a button that you could push to do a custom order. But I also have custom orders, um, custom options like I do my angels. If you've seen my angels, I have one listing on there for custom order. My wreaths, and I really need to get to making another one of my my the little miniature dresses. If you've seen my videos, you might have seen my miniature dresses. Then I need to get to doing that. So so when you make something like this, you can see all I'm doing is folding. I'm not even paying much attention. I usually keep it folded better, but it can make a rose, and it's a stretchy fabric, but it might be just the right fabric I need. I'm not sure the difference in the colors. See, I just pulled all these strips of pink so I could decide if I want to make anything with them, and I may make a flower with them. Um, let me see. What else did I have out here? So, oh, this is another pink. It might have good colors. I might be able to make a rose out of this one. This one is a fabric that they have at Joann's right now. But you can see it has the pinks that are a little bit rosy, and then it has creams. And so it could, I don't know. I When I design, I make a whole lot of stuff. Whole lot of stuff. Okay, so one of the other things is I wanted to try blues, and I wanted to try some satins because I think satin will make this project really pop. And so, but I'm going to show you how I experiment with my fabrics. So I have here a satin, and it's a thin satin. It feels like something I probably bought at Walmart. They have these light fabrics, satins that they sell for like $2 a yard or something like that. And you can do a lot with them. So I'll take my fabric here. And you see that, the strands? I usually take the strands. You have to be careful if you're going to test your fabrics because oh, I burned myself, look. Okay, so when it melts like that, then you feel the little burn. And this, you could tell, I know for sure it's not silk. I know it's a synthetic already, but it's hard. It's a hard little burned ash. But you have to be careful because you can burn yourself. Look, I put a little piece on there. But one of the things, even though they're synthetics, they don't always melt well for making flowers. So that's another thing I test for. Okay, I saw that it's a synthetic, and I take it and I kind of put a little bit of flame to it, and then I look to see how well it melted. You can kind of see. And I know that I can melt this fabric pretty well to make a flower. And usually this is probably 1 or 2 yards of fabric. Some of you, I teach you how to tear fabric, and one of the questions I always have is, what, my fabric's always crooked. Well, if it tears well, it probably won't be crooked, but when they cut it here, I'm reading, Rebecca says she watched a marathon with the bobby pin. Oh, thank you. That's what this one is. This is going to be, I dubbed it a la Liz technique. And so what I do is I take the fabric and I'm just cutting a strip off, and this strip, it's really hard to tear. So, can you see? This was kind of hard to tear. But when it does tear it, and I'm tearing it all the way across the fabric, and when I tear it, it cuts it straight, but it does curl up. So if you don't mind and you like cutting fabrics, you could cut fabrics or you can tear them. And this one was kind of hard to cut, but this is just a strip, and I might use some of, like this I could make a rose with if I want to. I could turn it into a rose, so I won't throw it away because it's pretty thick. You can see some parts are thick, some parts are thin. And now this edge that's on the fabric, now it's straight. Now it's pretty straight. So what I usually do is, if I'm going to make a flower and I want it to be about 3 inches with my a la Liz technique, I give myself about an inch over of what size I really want it to be. So I want this to be about 3 to 3.5 inches. I'll cut this strip 4 inches because I do trim it. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So about right here. I'll mark it because it rolls up here, and I'll probably cut most of that off. And this is just easier for me. And then I just tear it again. So now I'm cutting a strip that's as wide as the fabric from edge to edge. I know you can't see it all, but so here's the edge of this side, and here's this side. So, and usually I'll take that piece, which is long. Let me see how long that is. It's so, this fabric's about 60 inches wide that I have here. And I'm just going to cut this edge off. Can't use it. So I usually use about half of the fabric, but this is a long one. Usually it's about 48. So I'm going to make this one around, I don't know, about 22, because that's what I reach. So I'm going to cut it a little bit. Again, none of this is even. I mean, none of this has to be perfect, is what I mean. So this one's about, this piece I'm going to work with now is about 22 inches long. Okay, and I've shown you with my a la Liz technique how to do this. And I just take it and I wrap it around my fingers. And see the edge that curls a little bit? I just try to keep one side even, about even, because I'm going to cut both sides when I make a flower like this. Okay, there you go. So now this should be close to still 4 inches. And again, I want a small flower. I don't want it really that big. So I'll take it and I'll trim off the edge. So this is the part that rolled, right? And I just cut it off. And this one, for some reason, it seems crooked. I'll cut it also. It's getting smaller. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just flower making, and I'm making just different options. And then what I do when the ones that I don't use in the project, I'll use them for something else. And I showed you the last time that she also ordered a hanger. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lightly, I like to lightly do this. I'm just barely giving a little bit of flame on it just to help it not to fray much more, because this some fabrics fray a lot, some fabrics fray very little. But all I'm doing is just doing a little bit using this flame. I like other, let me see if my other one works. Where is it? I was trying to find my flames. I had them all put away because I haven't really been using them that much. So this one. Now I'm finding like I need to buy a whole set of more of these kind, because I've worn them out. The little small ones are a little harder to hold down than this. Now all I'm doing is I'm just doing a light right now, light bit, because that way it doesn't unfray very much more. And when you do that, gently. Hello, Daphne from Houston. So people are up late, huh? Like me. I craft late most of the times. So these are new clips I bought. I don't know how good they really are working. I got these from Walmart, I think, and they're kind of bent. You see that? So I just grabbed some new ones out and said, oh, I'm going to try those. And so I'm going to show you, I just go down the center here and see how this one works. This one I think is just Walmart. I think I got them a long time ago, and I think I used them a couple of times. I wasn't sure if how they were going to work. This edge right here feels like it's a little bit, I probably need to bend it up a little, because it's like I feel it snagging. So you can see right now it starts turning into a flower quite easily. Although people see me make these flowers, when I make them really large for like this, it does take some more manipulation. Sometimes I'll layer them. I'll make a smaller one and I'll make a bigger one, and I'll put them on top of each other sometimes. So if you want to make a bigger one, you can do that. That way it'll look fuller. You can add it on top of each other. So you can see how it's turning into a flower now. Now this fabric is not the best fabric, and that's what I do, is I experiment with the fabrics I have, and then I decide if I want to make more, or if it makes a good flower or not. You can see that it's melting pretty well. It's one of the cheapest satin thin fabrics that you can get from Walmart. But sometimes they make the prettiest flowers. So sometimes people ask me about the satin, and they're using a really thick, a very thick one. Now the thick ones, you can still do it, but they will get dark and burn more. They have more, like a lot of times they have cottons, or they're mixed. Usually nylon and polyester melt pretty well when you're doing this type of thing. And you can see that when I melt them, I do it in different stages. I'll melt a little bit before, then I'll melt again. And then I will probably, after I put the flower together, I'll probably melt even again. it's easier for me like that. I don't know. I just end up doing that because I like sealing it a little bit before. Let me grab some string. I've shown you how to do it with string. And I still have my big old first batch of the giant crochet string. Although I did start folding it in half because, there I go. Now what I'll find is that when I'm putting the string on, I find that the shiny side is where I do my first knot. The reason why as I keep on making these flowers, is that I've learned that they actually turn up better towards the place that you're actually knotting. So right now what I'm doing is I'm slightly pushing it. So again, you guys have seen my videos. I've shown you and explained like very detailed what I'm doing. And each fabric you use will be different. I think people sometimes, these are not perfect flowers. Now you can look at this because I'm not paying close attention. It's kind of crooked, like this side is smaller and this side's wider. You can kind of just tug it over. And then I just do this. So this is just one of the flowers, and it's fuller. And I push the strings now to the back, and you can tie it again. And what I like about this is that you could use a wire or something like that to do it too. Like right now, if I want to attach this to something, I can use a wire. That way it could stay. But just go along, and this is not working very well. Let me give you a little more. Okay, I see it. So then you just go along and you just melt it anymore. And this fabric, if you can see, the edges are getting black. And that's okay for me. I like a little bit of the black edges, and that will like show, it gives it more character. It makes it look more real. And see, it's not perfect. It is not a perfect, if that's what people have some of the most difficult with my flowers, this one is not perfect. But let's see, is that clear? Is that clearer? It's everywhere. All the leaves are all shaped differently. I mean, all the petals. But you can make them a little more perfect. You can put less fabric and then make them more round, kind of like this one's flatter. See, this one's a little fluffier. Um, so, and then this will be perfect if I want to add this color in my project. Again, I can stick it in the side like this, and it looks like a beautiful flower. It just looks like a rose that's an open rose. So let's see. Let's do a piece of lace. I don't know if I'm going to use this rose lace, but I kind of stopped thinking I might. And you can do it exactly the same way as you did that one. And you can also, I don't know what size this is, but I know it's too wide, so I'm going to cut this in half. See that? But let's see. All I'm doing is I folded it in half and I'm cutting this in half. I don't know, it's about 4 inches wide now that I'm cutting it. There you go. And like I said, so you can take this. Let me see if I have a different. This is a different one. I need one that's not. It's not going to stick so easily. See. And it's pretty long. This is about. Oh, it's almost a yard long. And you can make this without any of the things, and you need a lot more when it's this thin. and you can leave it like this. So usually I'll I'll test it, or a lot of times what I'll do is I'll leave it like this, and I'll do half this way and half with the petals. But this is so easy to make. You can see how easy it'll turn into a flat one. And this could be something that you could put underneath. So I have this one made right here. It could possibly go on, this one could possibly go on top of it. But I think I'm going to put petals in it. Did most of you guys leave? I don't know what's going on. Oops, I keep on switching it back and forth. You're watching my ceiling. Hey, 2 people are still there. Oh, wow. Look, I made it while you guys were gone. Isn't that pretty? You see how easy these are to make? This is a really soft fabric. In fact, this is actually a lace that I found brand new at the thrift store. And so it is vintage. And look at the pretty rosy pink color. So I don't know if I'm going to use that, but I started folding up a second one. One of the things when you fold it, I'm going to cut it a little bit here just so it's not so, because it's a lot of lace. And then I just, like with this lace, you don't have to cut off as much. I left it big. Just shape it. Again, I show you how to shape each side. There you go. So hi, I'm surprised how many people are up so late. I'll probably go to sleep around 12:30ish. I'm sorry, I'm drinking water. Because my husband we moved to Idaho not too long ago. My husband has a job where he's working on, his schedule is that he is off on Tuesdays. So in the mornings, on Tuesday mornings, I get up to take my adult son to work, because usually my husband takes him in the mornings when he goes to work. And so my husband can get a little bit extra sleep. So hopefully I'll just get up in the morning, and usually since I've been kind of having a little flare up of my illness, it drains my energy, and I'm sleepy all the time. I need more sleep than I normally do. Normally I can get 5 hours of sleep and I'm okay, but lately I'm not. So again, I just trimmed it, and you saw me cut it. Now with lace, you got to make sure you leave some of these. I got a little close. See that? It's pretty. Here. I have these pins, and I always lose them everywhere. So just like you did the other, lace looks so pretty. This fabric lace just looks so pretty and so easy. You don't have to melt it or anything to make it look pretty. And this one I said was about a yard long. So you just keep on feeding it through with your bobby pin, your hairpin. You know that you can actually sew this too if you want to. But I find that that's not as fun as the magic of the pin. And I don't know if some of you have seen my the skirts that I made, the shabby chic tattered skirts. Those are in my shop right now if you want to go over and look at them, but I do have a video share of them up. Right here I missed a cut. There's more to cut when you fold it. Yeah, there's more layers that you can easily miss it. So as you can see, look how pretty that looks. I don't know what this, I said this is about 4 or 5 inches wide. So the lace, when you make it, it's very easy. And you know, if it gets too thick, just put less fabric. If it's not thick enough, put more fabric. Or you can also use more than one type of lace. So this is great for a filler, like the bottom portion of a, if you have some beautiful fabric that you sewed together and you're making a really pretty lace, you can see how pretty. Yeah, just looks so pretty. Reach over for my thing. So we have 2 people with us, 3 people with us. Hello, whoever just came in. This is Liz with Crafty Devotion. My computer keeps on going down, and I'm not even sure if it's my Wi-Fi or if it was actually YouTube, because it said that YouTube was having an issue. So they could be having an issue because of my Wi-Fi. But well, actually the Wi-Fi I have here is much better than the one I used to have. That's why I can actually come live, is because it actually does work better. But before I would go live and it would just go right out. What I'm doing here is sometimes the string gets caught on this part of the pin, and you gotta make sure it's down. And there you go. Just make it. So I also have a different way that I've shown. Oh, somebody comment? I didn't see your comment. If you can comment again, because it disappears on me. And I looked down, then I looked up, and I saw a comment. Hi, you got bumped off. Yes, we all did. It got messed up. It's just, I'm actually surprised there's so many people up right now. I guess I don't know what time it is where you are, but here it's just after midnight, I think. Yeah, it stopped. It keeps on going out. I don't know why, but I went out, and then when I tried to go back in, it asked me if I wanted to come back on, and I said, well, yeah, and it let me come back on. I don't usually do this for so long, but that's beautiful. Just simple. And I do make the petals quite wide, and they just stand up. This is a really soft one, but you can just buy any fabric lace and cut it up. So that's the fabric lace. Now let's see. Let me see, I thought I had a piece of the red out here. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. I have such a mess. Such a mess. I wanted to make, oh no, this is some chiffon. Well, I don't see, oh, we can use this. Here. All right. This is that messy piece that I cut earlier. You saw. I think we'll make a rose out of it. So you can use anything you have. Oh, here it is. This is what I was looking for. Here. Never mind. I found this one because that's what I wanted to make. So on this one, I'm going to make a rose. 2:20 a.m. I just saw somebody type 2:20 a.m. Okay, so it's not bad here. So a lot of people are up late then. I usually stay up crafting late, and I usually go to sleep 1-ish. I'm going to try and go to sleep a little bit earlier today, so I probably won't stay on that long. This one is going to be just a regular rose. And so what I've taken is this is the silk fabric. Let me see about how wide this is. This is about 2 inches wide. Oh, it's silk and it's about 2 inches wide. And I'm going to make a regular rose. And I'm folding it in half. So that means it's about a 1 inch wide now that I folded it in half. You can use ribbon for this too. And I usually fold it like that, and then I bend it over, and now it's a triangle there. And one of the things I do like to do is the tip is usually my most important part. I like to make sure it's glued tight. And there we go. Right away starts looking like a rose. And this one, it will show more of the phrase. Unless you can triple it, maybe it'll be less. But that's why I like that other technique also, because for some fabrics that are one-sided, it works way better. It shows only the front side if you put it right. So I like the different kinds. I like to make different kinds of roses because then I have a variety that I could stick places. And sometimes I'll put them, some of my flowers, I have put a few on in my Etsy shop, but for the most part, they don't seem to sell very well. Maybe it's because I teach you how to make them, huh? Hi, C's Vintage Gifts and More. Hi. Yes, I'm up late, just crafting. That's all I'm doing. I decided to um, turn on the live, and I'm flower making for a project. I have a customer who's ordered several of my rag wreaths. She's got a beautiful home. She sent me pictures, and it's a beautiful home. She has, like, if you look at like the Victorian style, that's what most of her house is. And see how I put too much glue right there? With dark colors, glue shows a lot. So be careful. So I just glued it there and I cut it. Now I'm gonna just fold it up because I want a small one. I don't want it big, and I don't even think this is going to be usable because of the glue. The dark colors, that's what'll happen. So you got to be careful, and I'm not being careful because I'm talking. Okay, I'll be more careful in my next one. But I do want them about this size or a little bit smaller. Because well, sometimes I can put that in. I could still possibly use it because then it just won't show that. Sometimes it's just a pop of color I'm looking for in a little inconspicuous place. But for the most part, if it's too much glue, you got to be careful and go and put your glue low. A lot of times what I'm doing is I'm making them, and then I'll attach glue from the back. I started doing that sometimes, especially with these dark fabrics. The dark fabrics, they just show the glue. No problem with the light colors. I'm going to do that with this one. I'm not going to put glue in it, so till the end. Because I want little ones. That's probably enough right there. So doing my my wreaths, it takes many hours. I've already put in several hours doing the just choosing the colors. I decide to combine everything takes me hours. Just I pulled out lots of stuff until I finally see, you can see how the glue just shows so easily on this color. So be careful when you're doing it. Try to make it not go in the front, only in the back. So I'm just trying to let that settle. And then sometimes I'll go in the other one, it's easy to go into the back with a little bit of glue. So sometimes I'll do this. And then you can glue this down too. Like here. Just fold it down. Or not. So just little teeny tiny ones. But be careful, like I said, it really shows on red. And go see the other one. Shows a lot. So one successful one. So as you can see, when I'm making roses, or making flowers, it's not all perfect. It's not all like, oh, every single one comes out just right. I make mistakes. I do things wrong. And so it's okay. Some people say, and it takes practice, 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 practice. And I did a one rose tutorial, and that was my goal, to show you from a different perspective and hopefully help you to be able to make a rose. Because I know when I learned, it was so confusing, and I make mine differently, and I don't know why. I almost make them backwards or something. I don't know what I do that's different, but I just know I do them differently. And you don't have to use fabric. You can use ribbons. Any like 1.5 inch ribbons work well for making flowers. I'm trying to stay back, down. No glue in front, please. This is all going to get folded over. And see this one I made it a little flatter. And I'm going to put little bits of glue from the back instead of the front. That's one of the things I started doing sometimes, because boy, and the silk here, this one's not real silky, like where it's gonna just slip and slide. So there you go. And sometimes I'll leave this little stem on, because when I glue it down, sometimes I'll use that little stem to, or if I sew it, so that I have something that I can sew with right there. So sometimes I'll be sewing them on. Sometimes I'm using fabric glue, and more likely when I use this color, of course, sewing is not going to show it as easily with that color. Okay. What else do I have here? Let me go ahead and do this one. This is really a really thick fabric. C's Vintage Gifts. Hey, hi everyone. Gosh, I'm missing people. So, well, let's see what time it is now. What time is it for me? Oh, it's a little after 12. So I'm going to get ready to turn off. And I know the other times it turned off, it was not my fault. But I'm going to get ready. And I'm glad some of you guys hung around for a while. I feel like I'm boring, but because I'm not, I don't, normally I put my, Kathleen is telling me thank you for my videos, my bobby pin method. She makes butterflies. Yes, you can make butterflies out of it, out of my method. I haven't really shown anybody how to do it, but those of you who are crafty can figure it out. It's hard for me to answer because I don't know, haven't been going live for a whole long time, and I don't understand why the comments like you guys make, they just disappear on me. I don't know how to make them not disappear. So I just go for it because I really don't have time to learn, to go through and figure it out. But at least I can see your comments. And you are welcome, those of you who are saying that they appreciate my videos. I'm hoping that I will have more time to make more videos. Like the other rose that I made, the more flat, no, it's not really flat. It's I can't remember. I don't know what it's called. But I do need to do one for that, because I think my rose video is one of the highest ranking videos, and my silk flower video is one of my most highest ranking. So I know that people look for different kinds of videos, and sometimes it's not that. Good morning from Denmark. Good morning, and from Italy too. Well, good morning. So it's almost time for me to go to sleep. It is morning over here too, but it's a little after midnight here, and I'm usually up around, and I usually go to sleep around 1:30ish or so. I try to go to sleep at 1, but I don't always get to sleep by 1. So this little one, I don't know if I'll use it. It's just a twist almost, because the fabric's really thick. I'm gonna actually cut this fabric thinner and make another one, and you'll see the difference. So I don't know, how wide is this? This is 2 inches. And this is a stretchy fabric, and it has like a glitter, a pink glitterish, and it's more rose colored glitter. I do not know if I'm going to use it, because I was planning to put more gold in her wreath, but it just might look fine. We'll see. And they don't go to waste. I use so I make a whole ton of flowers, and I put them, I use what I'm going to use in my project, and then I put them in a bag, and then I might pull the ones that I made before for another project. So that's what I do. And this fabric's really thick. I'm going to try, see how it looks. Maybe I should try that other method, huh? With it, see how it works. Okay, so when I do the other, I go backwards, and then I go this way, and I start forming a circle. I don't know. Somehow I make a little backwards circle. When I make the videos for you guys, I take the time to practice and figure out, how am I going to explain this to them so that it's done, so that they'll understand it. What am I actually doing? And it takes thought and a bit of planning, when I do that. So you can see how this looks different, right? It's thinner because I cut it now. I do fold the thinner fabrics when I make the roses usually. If I need more fabric, I'll just. So this one right here, if you notice, the reason I'm saying this fabric happens to be two-sided, but if you have a one-sided satin fabric, this is a good type of a rose to use for that, because then the whole satin will show, this whole satiny part. So I fold it like this, and then I go this way, and I use the whole thing. You can see how it just starts looking like a little, I don't know. That's so cute. Uh-oh. It fell because I got a little bit of the glue. Okay, so I'm going to cut it right there. I think it's big enough, because most of the times, like, I'm making little roses, and I'll put them in little spots of just to bring in a little bit of the color. You can see the glue you can't even see it with this color, but that red, man, it's really, really bad. And then I come back here with these ones, and I usually cut this little thing off. And then I'll use the fabric over it like that. Sometimes if I'm using a satin that melts, I'll just melt it also. Or I'll cut a little circle and put it on there. Depends if I don't have enough fabric. This, you can cut it off, or you can glue it back. since this fabric doesn't fray at all, but you can see how cute that looks. See? And it's not perfect, but big difference, huh? On those roses. Okay, now I'll make that same, a different kind with the, now with the thin, the same one I did before with the thick. I also understand very well how you are explaining. Oh, really? You understand me very well when I teach you. Um, I enjoy teaching. That's another thing I enjoy doing when I do my tutorials. I enjoy teaching, but I can't spend that much time doing them anymore. Before I had a lot, before I was like sick and in recovery, and when I started YouTube, that's what got me doing YouTube, because I couldn't do my regular duties. I couldn't go and be like cooking all the time and doing as much cleaning because I was not feeling well. But I could sit here. See, I can sit here all day for hours creating things. And then I could sit and I was learning. I learned, taught myself how to record. And I like, the only thing that made it possible is when I first got my first phone. I'm using my phone. I have a Samsung S9, I think, now. But I had been using the one before that, before was just the Note 4. And then I kept that for many years using that one. And I think that's big enough. Oh, thank you, Nana. She says thank you for sharing. Well, you're welcome. I had no idea if people would come on. I'm always going to be sporadic right now when I come on with my life. So, but I ended up putting a lot of things away so I can craft. So I said, well, might as well put a few more things away so I can I've been putting things in a starting my and I've been putting some antiques in my Etsy shop as well as my crafts. And oh yes, yes, she says that she also teaches children. She understands how when you're going to teach, you have to practice and kind of think about how you're going to teach them for them to understand. And one of the things I learned about myself too is that I'm a better teacher when I teach myself something. I'm good at learning and just teaching myself something. I can see almost what anybody makes. You know, if somebody makes something, I can actually figure out how to make most things on my own. But then I have to still go and do it. When I go do it, I might do trial and error. And then when teach myself, then I know I can remember the steps I took to teach myself, and I like to teach that. See how different those are? This one has a lint on it, or string. So two different ones. So this is the one I still haven't taught yet. I for some reason I think I do have a video though on my Facebook, in my Facebook group, about this though, how I did this. But there we go. So I think maybe if I come on next time, because I'm gonna make probably a couple more like this with this beautiful lace. And it's just a piece of lace, and I use the a la Liz technique for this one too. And it's a pretty lace that I have that I keep on saving because I want to make my next small little dress. I want to use this lace, but I don't know if I'm going to have enough. I keep on using it. Okay, so these are some of the things I made. The red one. little red one. This one was folded. It's the same fabric. And some of you who weren't on earlier, but I made one of these right here, and it's the same as this one, but it's just different fabric. Thank you. She says, looking good. So these are the things that I'm just putting together, and I will possibly be using them in my finishing up my wreath that I'm making. This will, she does, Kathleen Kelly says she does crafts with 8 to 11-year-olds. Oh, and they give them away to their elderly. I see it disappeared already. I couldn't read the whole thing. And then I did this crazy one. So this I call an open rose. And it's just, you know how sometimes the roses just get, get crazy. You can see the strays. I put a little more flame to it. A little more flame. So that's what I'll do too, is once I put it on, if it needs more, I'll do more. I'll work with it a little more. Pretty black. I like that black. Okay, we did this one, which was like this one, but smaller. And then this one is actually the same as these. I use the same technique, but my the fabric, which is this silk, the silk was I think I tripled it. I think I went like that and tripled it when I made it, because it was a 4-inch silk. So that's why it looks so thick compared to maybe the other smaller ones. And the other thing I'm going to make is probably some wisps. So basically that's what I'll do. I'll keep on making tons of flowers, and then decide if I like the colors. The silk, oh, the silk is beautiful. The silk, see how pretty that comes out? It just, and it frays a little. Look how it frays. So when I am cutting the silk, you need to make sure that you check to see how it's going to fray, because so if I would have cut it this way and the frays were this way, it doesn't fray as well, and all you get are black threads that come off. But then if you fold it this way, what comes out are the red threads, and that's what you're seeing there. You're seeing the black threads along the edge that I was just fraying a while ago, and then the red ones are making it shabby. See how pretty that silk is? And I got this silk from my sister. Brought me a tub of fabrics, and I didn't know I had silk. I just thought, oh, those are really pretty decorators fabrics. So I thought they were just decorator fabrics like these, where somebody used them to make a pillow, but I didn't realize it was silk until one of my followers told me, hey, can you share your silk? I'm like, okay. I didn't know. I sold her some little tiny pieces. She used them in jewelry making, the silk. I think I'm going to make one like this. Is a beautiful, it feels like a taffeta silk also. It's almost gold, but I think that it has some good coloring, like you can see it goes with these colors right here. So I'll probably make another couple of flowers like with this and see, because I might use it like to highlight a certain color I like. And I'm going to experiment later on with this satin, this blue, because she wanted blue, and this one matches the blue I used a little bit more, but I have to test it and see how it's going to melt the flower, because I can also make out of these silks, the ones that don't melt well, you can make the flowers like the silk one too, like this one, like the like these, you can use that satin and make this type of flower. It looks really pretty. But when you do it, as you can see the direction that this pretty frays are coming off. See? That's the direction you want to cut it. So you want to cut it. So this fabric, you could test the other way and see if both ways fray. And that's what I would do. I would test it, and then when I cut it, I would test it. Always test them, and that's what I decide how I like my frays or not. But you can see these are really soft frays too on this fabric. So if it doesn't melt well, or this would make a very pretty flower, a satin flower. It's a pretty color. You can see how it's different. It has a little more green, more of a teal look to it. So I'll be experimenting more tomorrow and adding more flowers. Don't know if I'm going to use these in my mat in the project, but I just made them. So usually what I find is after I do my lives, I can't see all the comments. I don't know if I have to go some certain place to see them. I got to go look. So I don't always answer a comment after you've been live and you put a comment. So after the video uploads and you watch it, if it's on again, then I do see those comments. So if you're watching this later, then know that I will comment, but I just don't see them. I don't know what happens to them after the comments, or if maybe after a few days they show up. I don't know, but I don't see them anywhere. So I've been on for a long time. So this is Liz with Crafty Devotion, and I'm planning to go to sleep pretty soon because it's kind of late for me, and I got to get up early in the morning. Hope I got a few people on, so I know that they actually enjoyed this. This is long. I don't know if I'll leave it on. Okay, I'll talk to you guys next time, and hope I can see that some of you enjoyed just watching me make flowers.